Hi, my name is Ian Magaha, and we are doing problem 3 of the coding set 2. So, in the previous problem, we wrote a program that calculated the um, minimum fixed monthly payment. Sorry about that. Minimum fixed monthly payment needed in order to pay off a credit card balance within 12 months, but we decided that it must be a multiple of 10. However, in problem 3, we are not doing that. So it's going to be exactly what the monthly payment needs to be. It's not a multiple of 10. It's just exactly what the minimum monthly payment needs to be. So we're going to be testing our code with a balance of 500 and an annual interest rate of 18% for all of our problems. And we're also using bisection search. So bisection search is basically, to my understanding, we're gonna have a lower bound and an upper bound, and we're gonna squeeze in on the correct answer. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna copy and paste these variables. Balance is gonna be the same. Annual interest rate is gonna be the same. Minimum payment not gonna be the same. So high is going to be our highest. Well, actually, I'll do low first. Do low. Because low is very easy. The low boundary, the lowest minimum payment we possibly could do is assuming we had no interest. So we just assume that we have no interest, and that would be, sorry. If we had no interest and we were just paying off over 12 months, so if we had no interest and we were paying off over 12 months, the lowest monthly payment would literally just be balance divided by 12 because we have 12 months. So that's all that it would be. And I think it's okay if I do that as balance divided by 12. I believe it should. Yeah, I think that should be fun. And then our high is a little bit, I wouldn't say harder. Our highest is gonna, let's say you literally do not make a singular payment on that balance until the last month, the 12th month. What that payment would be, it would be balance times 1 plus the annual interest rate. Because you are literally you're not paying anything off. And you're waiting till the last minute. I feel like that didn't copy and paste how I wanted it to. No, it is not. What am I doing wrong here? Copy, paste. There we go. All right, so it's going to be high is just literally going to be a balance times 1 plus our interest rate. So it's going to be balance times 1.18. So you're waiting until the last month to pay it off. Yeah, and then our payment, like I said, we're squeezing. We are squeezing, so it's just going to be low plus high over here divided by 2. So somewhere in the middle, I need to sneeze. Sorry, I can't sneeze. Somewhere in the middle, we're squeezing in to find what our actual monthly payment is going to be. So really, I'm going to copy and paste a lot of this code because it's good. It's decent. I'll copy and paste all of it, but we're not going to need all of it. So definitely each time we're going through that while true loop, new balance is going to be equal to balance. And then we're also going to be using that same for loop where we're going to have new balance minus the minimum payment. And then we go ahead and add that interest onto it. So now this is where bisection search gets pretty interesting. So because we're just being correct to 2 decimal places, this if statement is going to change. This is we're going to say because we're squeezing in on the correct payment, we're going to go if 0 is less than our New Balance, which is less than, it should be less than equal, right? I don't know which direction. I think it's equal. No, it's definitely less than equal. 0.01, I believe it should be, because it's to 2 decimal points. Should it be equal to? I feel like it shouldn't be equal to. Because that's saying that we could still be off 0.01. Is that fine? I'm gonna take away this. I'm gonna take away the equal to sign and see if that's fine. If that causes issues, I'll change it later. But I don't foresee it causing any issues, and I just feel like if that equal sign is there, then the lowest payment could be off by a cent, which I really don't want it to. Anyway, so in that if statement, if that's true, then we can go ahead and print the lowest payment is just going to be the payment, obviously. So we can print the lowest monthly payment is going to be, and I believe we also want to round. I'll add this here. Well, I don't even know if we really have to add it. We know that dollar amounts only go to 2 decimal places. So we're going to go round monthly. What am I doing? It's minimum payment. I don't know why I was typing that in. Minimum payment, and we're going to round that to 2 decimal spots. There we go. So yeah, we print, and then we're going to have, so this is where it gets very interesting. Sorry, that's not right. So then we're going to have an else if, and this is kind of where bisection search is pretty interesting. If we have the New Balance is greater, New Balance is greater than 0.01. I'm sorry, I gotta sneeze so bad, I don't know why. Then our payment is our minimum monthly payment, or sorry. Low is gonna be equal to our minimum monthly payment. Because the lowest bound at that point is obviously going to be the that minimum monthly payment, because if the New Balance is greater than 1 cent, then that means that the New Balance is not paid off. And whatever minimum monthly payment we used just now, it was not big enough to make our New Balance less than 1 cent. So, or yeah, exactly. So then we can have another else if the New Balance, I don't know why I keep putting spaces. The New Balance is less than 0, I believe, because we don't want to be negative in this scenario. Then high is going to be equal minimum payment, because whatever that minimum payment was, it made, let me capitalize that P, it made the balance go below 0, making it negative, which means that that is not your minimum monthly payment. That is more than whatever that minimum monthly payment would be. So let's see. I can take this out for sure. I think we can just say, I think we once again say payment is equal to low plus high divided by 2. In that while loop is what I'm understanding. Minimum payment is going to be equal to low plus high divided by 2. All right, so let's look at this. I should probably break out of this also, if that's the case. And then break, right? Because if I didn't add the break there, we would just go endlessly, is what I'm understanding. Yeah. Out of curiosity. Well, let's see. An object is not callable. Okay, I just need to add. Yeah, okay. My bad. So it says lowest monthly payment $451.63. Let me. Yeah, okay. And it should be $451.63. That was our expected value. So we can add this too. Expected value is $451.63. Admittedly, I definitely did watch the provided material on Canvas for understanding, just some tips as to where to go with this. And I believe I remember it being less than or equal to 0.01. And I don't know why you would want to do that. I don't know why you wouldn't just want it to be less than. Because if it's less than, what would happen if I change this to less than or equal? It's the same thing. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe with bisection search, you're specifically supposed to have it less than or equal to. Well, it works. I just feel like, I don't know, I'm worried that there's something I'm missing with that. Because where I'm at right now, I feel like the equal sign is not necessary. I feel like the equal sign is not necessary. That's what I was trying to say. Print. I wonder why we're saying that's okay. Why would that be okay? Can I change? What happens if I change this to 5001? 451.72. And what if I? Oh, it's the same. Yeah, I don't really know why. Maybe you could provide comments on the YouTube video, but I don't know why the less than equal to sign would matter there. Or why you have to have the equal. I don't know if you have to have the equal. I mean, I just watched the material and he had less than or equal. But to my understanding, I feel like I'd rather not have the equal sign there because but I don't know. Is it because floats are weird? I don't know. Also, I feel like. So I want to. Let's see what happens if I do this. Oh, it's gonna go on forever because floats aren't specific enough. Probably. That's probably the case because floats it's not going to be equal to exactly 0 because floats still have minuscule. Okay. All right, so let's go over this one more time. So obviously we're doing the same thing we did in problem 2. we're running a program that connects or calculates, the minimum fixed monthly payment in order to pay a credit card balance. We have a certain balance, we have a certain annual interest rate, and we're using a bisection search. And then this is our expected value if our balance is 5,000 and our annual interest rate is 0.18. So we have, balance is 5,000, annual interest rate is 18%. Our low boundary here is going to be balance divided by 12 because this is the lowest monthly payment we can make. This is if we had absolutely no interest at all. Our lowest monthly payment would just be balance divided by 12. It would just be 5,000 divided by 12. Now, on the other hand, our highest balance would literally be we only pay 1 month, and the 1 month that we do pay would be all of the interest. So it's just balance times 1 plus that annual interest rate. And then our minimum payment, we're going to be squeezing it. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of low and high. And while we go through that bisection search, it's going to be bringing those low boundaries higher and the high boundaries lower. And eventually we squeeze it together and we're going to find that right minimum payment. So just like with problem number 2, we're starting off with a while statement. It's going to keep looping and looping and looping and looping until we break out of it. So, and we're going to, here it's important to say that new balance is equal to balance because we want to make sure that each time that we start this while, it go ahead and resets that new balance to 5,000. So we're going to have our for loop and we're going to go through it 12 times because there's 12 months. We're going to have new balance minus is going to be equal to new balance divided by minimum payment. That just makes sense. That's your minimum payment. Then you're going to add on the interest after you make that minimum payment. And then I'm getting ahead of myself. We're saying interest is going to be equal to the new balance after you make your minimum payment times the annual interest rate divided by 12. And then we're going to add that interest into the new balance after paying the minimum payment. Now we're going to check if new balance is basically, 0. It's between 0 and 0.01. And I'm not, like I was talking about earlier, I don't really know why you would want this to be an equal sign. I'm going to take it away. I don't think you need the equal sign. I could definitely be wrong. Might get points off for it. But in my head, I really wouldn't want to print out the lowest monthly payment if we're at 0.01 because that means that we're still a cent off. So, oh, you know what? No, that makes sense. It makes sense because we might end up with a weird situation where we can't pay the same fixed monthly payment and it be exactly 0. So we might end up still having a cent over because it's not possible to get a fixed monthly payment where you completely pay off every cent because there's no half cent. We don't have hay pennies anymore. So there's no possible way to actually do that because we're saying that we cannot go lower than 0. We have to be greater than 0, which means we can't go negative. So it does make sense that we have the equal sign because we're saying that new balance can still be a cent over. Okay, now I understand. If you were, maybe I'm still wrong, but that's my understanding right now. If you're watching the video earlier and you're like, man, it's so obvious why it's less than or equal to, now I think I get it. I hope that I get it. Maybe I don't, but that's my rationale, is that maybe it's physically impossible to actually get 0 because rounding can be weird sometimes. All right. So we print the lowest monthly payment if it's between 0 and 0.01. And then we break out of the while loop. Else if the new balance is greater than 0.1, basically meaning the minimum payment's too low, then the absolute lowest boundary that we can have is that minimum payment because it was just too low. And if the new balance is, too great, meaning that, or sorry. If the new balance is less than 0, that means our minimum payment's too high. So our absolute highest boundary that we could have is going to be minimum payment. So, and then we go through that while loop again. We try to use that new minimum payment. And if we eventually will get to a point where that minimum payment is correct, and we find that new balance will be in between 0 and 0.01, and that's just going to be our minimum payment, and we go ahead and print that out. So let's run that. We expected it to be 451.63, and we get that the lowest monthly payment is going to be 451.63. I appreciate you watching. I'm glad that I could figure out why it was less than or equal to. So I appreciate you watching. Once again, this is Ian McGaha. This is coding set 2, and this is going to be problem 3. I hope you have a good one.